What's up, YouTube? Enigma Garage is here on the 18th of May, working on my adapter plate for a K-Series intake to my Kia motor, which last night I was watching Gas Dance House, and he actually made one for his Celica. So, K20 intake to a Celica. Awesome video he made. I've been watching him for a while. You guys should definitely sub to him. Yeah, so I actually got it here after... This is V4, so rear renditions. And the ports are very, very smooth on the K-Series side. All the bolts line up on where I need to bolt it through. I'm gonna have to drill a hole in the manifold here and probably a few other places. But then we have the Kia side. And there's that textured bamboo plate where I kind of put it together. And yes, I'm making everything with TPU O-rings. That way I don't have to worry about gaskets. But this is the Kia side, Honda side, and how I've been working on it. So I'm going to try to print these in TPU. That's the actual gasket. I made it 0.1 millimeters smaller outside and inside, so it should fit into the groove, which is right here. Should fit into the groove just fine, and I'm going to make it probably 0.1 or 0.2 taller, so it'll get that squish to fill it in, and that'll be both of my gasket surfaces, Kia side and Honda side. No more gaskets ever again. Yeah, let's go put it on the motor and see how it looks. So on V5, I had to move this bolt hole and this one over here. For the Kia side, they did not line up, so I had to move the hole down here 2 millimeters, that hole down I think 4 millimeters, and sharpen up this edge a little bit. But everything is smooth, so it'll be a full smooth transition. And the reason I'm going to get a K-Series intake is the top portion of the manifold. You can flip it so the throttle body's on either side. I'm going to turn it so the throttle body's on this side, so I can do my air-to-water intercooler here going to the turbo. And such a coincidence that guy's working on it too. That's pretty funny, actually. But yeah, quite happy how this is coming out. I'm going to print out Rev 5 and work on that. But today I'm going to pull the motor and trans out, get this adapter plate starting to put on. I got to go pick up a starter from the parts place, and I think a few bolts too. I'm missing one more bolt for the starter. I've got 2 in there. Yep, I need to get the third one for the bottom side. Yeah, the bottom side does not have one down there. Maybe a few more bolts to go around. And then while it's apart, I need to measure the thickness for the slave cylinder. And then I got the CNC bushing, so that'll go into the K-Series trans and press into the flywheel. Oh, hopefully that's my bid going through on eBay for that manifold. It's the same one that he got in the video, the Gas Dance House video. Yeah, let's get to getting. And a little update on the 3D printed dash mount setup. I'm not quite good at Fusion yet for 3D modeling for the, I guess, rounded type aesthetic pieces. I can do all the block functions, and I'm getting pretty good at making things kind of go up and draft where they need to, but all the bolt holes do line up inside of here, even little stud areas, and everything is plugged in. So I do have a couple powers over here. So just to give you an idea, there are 4 different ignition wires you can tap into right here. This one right here is a ground. That one goes to your starter. And that's pretty much how I'm wiring it up. And I've got so many things about this car. So if you do need any of the wiring pinouts, I do have everything from AllData for the entire ECU, and a couple of the other starting and charging harnesses. If you need that, hit me up. Batteries in the front, working out good. I did drill a hole, and I'm actually going to 3D print a TPU grommet and put all the wires through that to keep everything from rubbing in there. Everything's fine. Actually, you know what? Let's cut it on. I'll show you real time. And key. Boom. Fueltech FT550. Oh, come on. There we go. So yeah, let's get to getting. I love having AC in here. We also have our Lufa Racing, I think, Lufa? Yeah, Lufa Racing, there we go. The 8AN, and of course 6A in return, I have the adapter there. Walbro 450 is going in the MR2. Should be plenty of power. I do have these injectors from my buddy's car we were working on because he swapped out. So Australian injection, these are 850s. Those should last me for a while till I start turning it up. Sucks I can't use that rail because now I'm going to a K-series manifold. And I've got my pressure regulator. I've started working on some wiring here. This is my coil harness. I'm gonna do a sub harness for the coils and injectors. Grounds, signal ground, powers, and signal to each one. So full sequential. There's the other piece of that adapter I was working on. You see the first rendition, I didn't even have the cutout because I didn't know the hole was gonna be in the right spot. And then we have our injector sub harness here. So we have the powers right here. And then we have each one for a sequential going to each injector. I'll get that all wired up. I do have the pigtail connectors to pretty much the pin and crimp to go to these injectors. Which if I ever switch, that's why I wanted a sub harness. And all I have to do is just make a new sub harness to the new injectors instead of getting these weird adapters or worrying about connectors on connectors. And I have those in my little spilled thing. Yeah, I kicked it over. There's the injectors. And a whole bunch of douche connectors. So I can pin and do everything myself in this car for sub harnesses and everything. And my son's car over here, I do have a bunch of wires and TFL, TXL, so I can run different colors. There you go, another set of wires down there. But every circuit that I build is going to have different colors, make it way easier to diagnose in here. And with all that said, I'm going to fire up the 3D printer, start pulling the motor, head to town to go get a starter and the bolts. See you here in a minute. So we've got Rev 5 here, about 20 minutes away from finishing up. Let's go back down to the garage. And the motor and transmission's back out of the car. All right, let's get the trans off and see how this adapter plate fits. I'm scared, not gonna lie. Oh, does this unit look nice? There's a little bit of tolerance in here. I don't know if you can see it or hear it. That little bit of... It's the only thing. Fits fine here. Let's check the motor side. This thing looks sweet. Okay, it's not down all the way. It's off by like 0.25 of a fucking millimeter. I'm just gonna ream the hole out. Don't judge me, okay? Do not judge me. And there we go. There is absolutely no twist going on. You can see I did grind it out a little bit, but it's flush now. Ground out about that. But yeah, it's there's no twist in this thing whatsoever. It's locked in on both sides except for that little bit of a click you get. Maybe a 1/10 right there. But yeah, there's absolutely no twist in it. I have to grind down the edge of the plate right here, the shim. I'll get that ground down and torque it down. So we did have a minor setback. This did not fit. It does now and spins pretty freely. It might have like 1 or 2 thousandths in there. Nothing extreme, but I did have to go in there with a little wheel and sand it out. Try to do it as good as I can. It's probably not perfect. It probably has lumps in there, but whatever. It should work. Good news is adapter plate's on. Bad news is, see that little bit of light above the crank? Yeah, my rear main seal kind of shrunk up over the years. I want to say this thing's like 8 or 9 years old, so can't go any further till I get a new rear main seal. Yay. Since I have to go get a rear main seal, I do have to get the longer bolt. I kept one of these out. It sits flush inside of there. I need 1, 2, 3 more. And then this one needs to be a 4th, but long enough to put a nut on the bottom side where the starter is. So I need to get some of those and then a nut for this so I can tighten it down on the back side. But while we are waiting to do that, let's put on the clutch. The Clutch Masters hydraulic clutch conversion. That way I can actually use this. I probably could have used the arm, but I wanted some adjustability here. So first thing you want to do is loosen up the Allen and then take off the bracket. You also want to take off the nut right here that goes, well, not nut, well, it's a pivot slash nut. Take that completely off, and then you're going to want to take the clutch, oil up the O-rings that are inside of it, make sure this is completely clean, and then put the holes through the arm area and push it down. Just like that. We're going to want to make sure that these arms are going to be level. With this still loose, we're going to take the arm here, insert Jeopardy theme. Okay. So you get it under the washer there, and then you can put the pivot back in place to hold it there. So I've got the pivot right here started, and now I'm going to make sure that this is completely level up and down and straight. That looks pretty good. And then I'm going to tighten everything down. Allen key here, and then you have a 22 or 21 that goes to the pivot, and tighten all of this down. And here she is all tightened down. It's gonna make it so much easier for doing the hydraulics on here. Oh yeah, I need to get a hose for the car. Forgot about that too. You always forget about the little things. Dang it. And the tap. I have to tap these holes over here, so I have to buy a tap now. I forgot about that. Can't finish up this till I tap the hole so I can bolt it from the bottom, which there is a little bit of light coming through there, so yeah, I need to make sure this is all clamped down, which I might have to pull the oil pan off to do the bottom part of the rear main seal. Fantastic. Guess I gotta get some parts. Flange V5 is now on, and it looks so much better. It feels very, very smooth. I could try to chase this corner a little bit more, but I can't feel it. You see it more than you can feel it, and I think I'm just chasing nothing at that point. But everything lines up except for, I think the 2 holes are about 1 millimeter off now. So I think it needs to drop down a little this way, and this one maybe it's like 1 mil and maybe half a mil, or hell, I just might enlarge these holes 0.5, and then these will guide the plate on to be nice and straight because there's no movement whatsoever, and these will just be kind of open and free floating to some minor inaccuracies. But I think that's good enough to have it CNC made. And then you have the bolt holes here on both sides. Oh, right there, right there, right there. That goes into the Kia. I might have to drill out the hole for the K. I believe it's down here on that manifold, so I'll just wall it out. So the bolt I used to go through the Kia flange, I'll just go through both. I'll just go through the intake and the flange together right there. I'll have to drill holes, obviously, for everything to come through the Honda flange. And everything should be good. I'll print out some TPU gaskets and start testing those. But I think I could send that file off to get made. And the bolt that goes to the starter is exactly the same as the bolts in the side of the block. So I can just get 3 3 bolts, 4, 5, so 5 of the exact same length here, and then a 6th that's a little bit longer, so I can go through and put a nut onto this side because there's threads in the starter on both of these sides. And everything's coming out really well. I need to order a starter, rear main seal, go get bolts, go ahead and order the flange since Trump's tariffs have been paused, and I think it's primo opportunity to get that flange coming. And yeah, we'll call this one a wraps, and we'll catch you guys in another week or two. See you later.